welcome. Welcome to the March edition of the Cybersecurity Tech Talk sponsored by Hillstone Networks. I'm Steve McDowell, and I'm with my buddy
Matt Kimball.
Matt Kimball.
Yes.
Matt, what are we talking about? What are we talking about today? Did we script this using ChatGPT?
No, we're not going to give away what we're talking about yet. Let's throw a couple of numbers first, okay? Right. And I think the answer will become obvious pretty quickly, as well as who we're going to be speaking with. First number is 267 billion. What do you think that is?
267 billion videos created every day.
No, that's videos created today, but no.
Right. Okay.
267 billion is how big the AR market is forecasted to be in 2027.
AI, artificial intelligence?
The artificial intelligence, yep.
Okay.
Here's another one for you. 15.7 trillion.
Dollars spent on AI. Eh?
Close. AI's contribution to the global GDP by 2030.
Wow.
Really not that, but crazy, right?
Yes.
All right. One more for you. 37%.
37% of enterprises don't use AI.
Use AI.
Use AI. That's what I meant.
This is like an old Johnny Carson skit. So clearly, today we're talking about artificial intelligence, AI, and its intersect with cybersecurity, right? Seeing as this is a cybersecurity monthly conversation.
Yes.
Yeah. And we have two folks who probably are the best possible folks on this planet to talk about that intersect between AI and cybersecurity. The first is somebody we met, I guess, about a year ago out in Santa Clara on a really cool briefing, and that's Tim Liu, who happens to be the CTO and co-founder of Hillstone Networks. So we have like Hillstone royalty with us. Tim, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Steve. Hi, Matt. Nice to be here.
Thank you. And second is a technical guru who has the official title of Senior Distinguished Engineer at Hillstone, and that's David Yu. David, thank you again. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, guys. Nice to be here.
Thank you. So we're going to spend the next 30 minutes or so kind of talking about the AI market, cybersecurity, how it impacts cybersecurity for the good and the bad. But let's just kind of tee it up. Everybody has heard of artificial intelligence, kind of knows at a high level what AI is. But, from the perspective of, the enterprise and companies, what do you all see in terms of, the potential impact of AI on the marketplace? And do you, as you talk to customers, do you see it being employed a lot? In daily operations, or what operations do you see it being deployed in?
The AI has been pretty hot for the last months.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to believe that the ChatGPT has been only been hot for the last month and a half, right? Since February. And right now it's about the only thing that everyone is talking about. So that's sort of the kind of technology transformation that's been happening. So we had some AI breakthroughs early on with like AlphaGo, AlphaFold as one of the breakthrough, and now I think we are witnessing another one with ChatGPT and AIGC.
Yeah, Bill Gates was being interviewed about a week ago, and he said something that kind of knocked my socks off. He said, AI, and this wave of AI is the most disruptive wave of innovation he's witnessed in his life. And this is the guy who mainstreamed the use of, personal computers.
Right. Yeah, I think echo what he just said. AI actually been around for a long time. I remember decades ago when I went to school, actually we took the computer vision neural network classes. But AI at that time, I think, is mostly confined into the graduate school or the advanced studies, right? We do all these algorithms, all these machine learnings with limited data sets. And also the use case or application at that time was very limited, pretty much confined in the university labs. It's only in recent years that with the advanced technological advancement of high performance computing, with the cloud computing, the high speed communication networks, that we have a lot of data available, a lot of data, huge amount of data available. But AI, it reaches what I call it the critical mass, that it can do what human being cannot do, which is analyze the data, a large amount of data continuously in an effective way. Again, as we see, these ChatGPT, it really bring AI to its phenomena these days. Yeah.
So,
good, Steve.
I was going to ask, are we seeing AI used for nefarious purposes by bad actors, right? It's, we see all the goodness of AI, right? ChatGPT writes everything I publish, but do we see AI being used to help, breach systems? And is it itself a cybersecurity risk?
And I think for the ChatGPT, the potential is actually greater. I mean, we already see, generated contents, generate bad contents that can mimic, human. We all know that we receive phishing emails, right? And nowadays, the phishing emails could be generated by, ChatGPT or some AIGC algorithm, and even you could be receiving, for example, videos or even voices from company CEO asking you to maybe wire a certain amount of money, right? And nowadays you may not even be able to trust that, right? We've all seen, the arrest of Donald Trump, photos of arrest of Donald Trump on the web, and you cannot believe those photos or voices anymore, right? Even if you hear them with your own ears and see them with your eyes.
Yeah, I think from the in cybersecurity space, the attacking and the defending this campaign itself, the nature has not been changed, in my view, with the ChatGPT. The only thing changed is on both sides. The changes has happened on both sides. On attacking sides, as Tim pointed out, attackers still using this phishing email, social networks, using this fake website, using URLs, all these mechanism to penetrate, to infiltrate the defense. The only thing is right now, ChatGPT can be used by both sides as effective tools. By the attackers, they can use ChatGPT first to staging attack more easily than before. And on the other hand, they also can use ChatGPT to understand how cybersecurity defense works, right? So just like know ourselves, know the enemy side, right? From the attacker point of view. And from defense, cyber defense point of view, also the ChatGPT can be used as effective tools to conduct the threat analysis, incident response, and all these threat huntings, forensic analysis. So basically, ChatGPT can be used by both sides. So so we are just using this on both sides as effective tools to conduct this attacking and the defense campaign at a higher level, I would say.
Yeah, I imagine
I agree.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I agree. I think one of the example is the current release of the Microsoft Security Copilot. I think it's exactly what David has been mentioning, is this kind of tools that help you do instance response, do security analysis, etc.
Even up leveling a little bit for a second here. Okay, so ChatGPT is one example of how AI is, being used, right? Kind of in the commoditization almost, or democratization of AI, right? Anybody can go in and type something into ChatGPT. It's just saying, I requested it to write a Python script that would identify every primary number between 1 and a billion. And within 2 seconds, it did it. And that's really cool, right? But there are other uses within the enterprise or within a company. Do you, as technologists who kind of live and breathe this, do you see other uses of AI happening in the enterprise, for, obviously for knowledge trees or decision trees and things of that nature, recommenders and all that?
Yes, I do see it. I think this ChatGPT will be sort of a revolution. I think the last wave I was mentioning about AlphaGo, AlphaFold, I think is still kind of limited in its use. Even though it's a revolution technology that actually the AI start to have things that they can compete with human in terms of some of the thinking level that we thought the AI could not do, but the application is still kind of limited. But ChatGPT, it has a lot of application, and we see that it's going to be adopted by a lot of the companies. Maybe I don't know, maybe 50% or even more companies that can use them. I actually use it daily now to actually one of the things that is Google, right? It used to be Google, but nowadays I think ChatGPT can add a level that organize the result that come out of it. Just another day, I was looking for companies, certain kind of companies, and nowadays I can just ask for like the top 10 companies. It will give me that top 10, right? Instead of giving in Google, you have a list of ads followed by a list of companies that may or may not be relevant. So, I think it's definitely going to be revolutionary this time.
Yeah, I agree. So to add to what Tim just mentioned, AI as a tool, as a cybersecurity tool, can help the enterprise in the whole life cycle of a threat detection and protections. We know that the threat cybersecurity, the pipeline, the cycle starts with the assets discoveries, risk assessments, and then the threat detections, threat hunting, incident response, and so on, right? So AI with its machine learning and now deep learning can help at every stage of this cyber defense pipeline. For example, we can use AI or machine learning tools to automatically detect the digital assets within the protective network. We can also use the AI and its tools to initiate the vulnerability scan, and also we with the threat detections, we can use the AI to help us to do the threat hunting and forensic analysis, and also the incident response. AI can use, in my personal view, can help in two aspects. Number one is to help in detect the specific attack or threat. For example, the domain, the DGA domains, the encrypted channels, the DNS channels, and the web URLs. All these can the malicious or attack using this mechanism can be used. We can use AI to help us to effectively detect them. And the other thing very important is in the security operations center, where a large amount of data is being collected from the deployments, from the threat intelligence, from all these sources. So it's impossible for the threat security professional, the security team, to conduct manual analysis and correlations. So in this case, AI can be used at its best to help us to reduce the human involvement and perform the analytical tasks automatically.
Yeah.
Almost feels like an AR arms race. I mean, Matt, you talked about asking ChatGPT to write you a script to do Fibonacci series for some reason, but I could also, I guess, ask it to write a script to attack other vulnerabilities. So you have AI fighting AI. How worried about this should we be?
Right? Yeah, I think the thing that you talk about generating codes. I see statistics posted on web that says, today actually about because actually the Copilot, which was sort of an IIGC application, has been used for quite a while, for a couple of years. And today, about the statistics says about maybe 10-15% of the code are written by the Copilot. But I read an article that says, in 5 years, 70-80% of the code is going to be generated by the Copilot. So that's like implications. For example, how good are these code, right? So we know that ChatGPT can give you some pretty bizarre answers if you ask the wrong question, right? So how good are these code? What are the vulnerabilities of those code? That's only just one of the concerns I have. Obviously, there's other things that you just mentioned. There's a way, adversaries can create code that penetrates the code that you wrote. So things like that. So I think there's many areas that we need to think about security. How it can impact our current way of doing things. Yeah.
Have you seen examples where, red team, blue team, or, penetration testing, those kind of the white hat community for hackers are using AI to, kind of strengthen, customers, security postures? Steve, because we talk about using ChatGPT to exploit vulnerabilities from bad people, but could also be used by, strategically by companies to assure that they're, that much more strengthened from a cybersecurity perspective.
I think for the red team, blue team, that side of things, I haven't seen a lot of the case. Probably because the ChatGPT is more, it's still kind of new.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to. There's going to be more application of it, more like AIGC. There's definitely, possibility that you can feeding a lot of the data, a lot of the code inside a ChatGPT kind like system, and ask it to, do some analysis and spit out the vulnerabilities that it can find. Right? There's definitely that kind of possibility. So it can be used for like code checking, which is on the defending side, and on the offensive side, finding vulnerabilities. So I think definitely application that can be used by both the blue and red team. Yeah. I think that was the second part of the question. I kind of lost track of it.
I tend to ramble on. Well, so the first part was the red team, blue team op. Just in general, I think you answered it. It was more in general. Do you see? And it's not necessarily ChatGPT, but AI as a useful tool for companies.
Oh, about the security operation. I think you mentioned the security operation. I think on that side, I do think that it's going to help people do compliance. For example, nowadays you have a policy that you can probably state or write down a piece of paper, and actually whether that compliance document is implemented in your security system. You can pull out all the configuration from different firewalls and everything, and basically check the compliance with that with that document and configuration, and be able to do something. I think that's something that I can see ChatGPT or a similar system can do.
I love the compliance piece. Matt and I are actually talking to a company earlier this week that focuses strictly on the compliance place, not necessarily firewalls, but they look at what is it, Matt? They look at security policies, right?
Yeah, like
and they use a ChatGPT to translate between them to say, am I compliant with this? Am I compliant with that? And it understands both sets of questions and can answer them holistically. So we can use AI for good, right? I mean, AI.
And some of the customer deployment we have, like they have the most I've seen is like 100,000 policies. They have like 100,000 policies in their firewall.
Oh wow!
And at one point they keep it on an Excel spreadsheet, and they have a note that says, this policy is because somebody asked for this on a certain day.
Oh.
So they have a record of it, keeping inside a spreadsheet, and it's really hard to manage that kind of a system. But if you have a document that spell out different kind of policies and rules, it may be easier to do manage your security in that way and have less loopholes. Definitely.
Yeah, especially with like natural language processing, where you can kind of, even if it's not an exact, the phrase isn't an exact match, you can do that mapping more appropriately.
Yeah, and it's not just a one time, right? It's back and forth. The other day I was asking, uh, uh, a computer to give me like CLI to configure like a VPN, a PSEC VPN. So it gave me a set of CLIs, but I said this is I need more address. I need the address book. I need something else. It will actually spit out additional information. So it's not like one thing you just check. You can also correct it, right? That's what ChatGPT can do for you. Is it can learn on itself as well. So yeah, it's very powerful. Yeah.
So, I mean, are we looking at a future where, cybersecurity is a hands-off, you plug in your firewall, or your firewalls, you plug in your networking gear, and you just kind of hand it off, and AI drives the whole boat for you to assure, resilience, security, so on and so forth? I mean, is that where we're headed, or, are people still required for this thing called cybersecurity?
Yeah, I think right now one of the problems facing many enterprises when they do the security operation is one of them is the complexity, because we are managing a lot of different variety of devices. Some of them on premises, like the firewalls, IPS, endpoints. Some of them is in the cloud, like cloud workload, all the cloud applications. All these is so diverse in terms of the entities they are managing and they try to protect. This is one thing, complexity. The other thing is the operational cost. So we need to invest. Usually, a company need to invest a lot of people in a security team in order to quickly, when the threat detection is alerted, quickly conduct the threat huntings and forensic analysis, and also the incident response, right? So in these two aspects, I think the AI in the future can really helps the companies to automate the process, right? By conducting all these threat correlations analysis, and incident response. On the automation side, AI can be a very good, effective tools in helping the company to more effectively conduct the security operations.
Yeah. What do you think?
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think on the operation side, it's definitely a lot of potential. Yeah. And I think humans, of course, still necessary. Just like, AI make mistakes, so you need human to actually check what AI has been doing is actually been doing correctly. I think the other side of this is in the ChatGPT today. I think it's more of an optimization of your human machine interface. So it used to be, you pull when you do security configuration, you go through a lot of manuals, open up a web page and do a lot of configuration. But in the future, it's going to be more driven by, either you're typing some things that you want to do, or you just tell it what you want to do, and it be able to do, interactive way of doing configuration rather than just go through a bunch of manuals. I think that's going to change a lot of the human-machine interface on operating systems, on your configuration, on a whole lot of spaces, I think.
So we've been talking mostly about large language models, ChatGPT, but AI is much broader than that, right? I mean, is there application for AI to do things like anomaly detection on network traffic, right? To identify potential penetrations or anomalies?
I can share some of our own practice at Houston. Yeah, Houston actually has been investing in AI technology many years ago. We actually the first company. I think we are the first company to introduce AI in our next generation firewall. That time was the machine learning models, right? So in our practice, we adopt a progressive approach, meaning at the very beginning, we're very focused. We know what we want to do. We want to utilize AI models to detect a specific type of attacks. For example, DGA, domain generating algorithm for those domain names generally used by the C2. The other thing is for example, the malicious encrypted channels. The other thing is malicious URL attacks. All these specific attacks that does not require a large set of data sets comparatively. So we develop the AI models and apply in our deployment, and then we keep iteration to optimize the AI models. This is one thing. And as time progressed, and we have more and more AI technologies, both on premises and in the cloud. This is a development side. On a deployment side, which is very tricky here, as I mentioned before, traditional firewall or IPS devices, they are either 0 or 1, right? You either block it or you let it go, right? It's very clear, very deterministic. But with the introduction of the AI model, it becomes 0 to 1, right?
Yeah.
It gives you a result that might look like a malware, right? With the confident index. So we got to be very careful that to deploy this AI model on the device particularly. So we don't want to disrupt the normal business, right? Interrupt normal business. That would be very harmful, right? So what we do is we put this in the tapping mode, in the mirror mode. In our we have the NDR product. We put into our NDR product for AI model optimizations, right? So basically, it's a mirroring mode. So it mirrors the traffics and then do the conducted analysis, right? So it's not interrupting with normal business. Of course, we have the correlations with the inline device. As when we find a very, very sure a specific attack, we can tell the firewall to block it or do some other actions, right? But primarily we're in the tapping mode. So this case it's a user is more easy to accept it, to deploy it. So from the deployment side, we're using this progressive, non-intrusive way to deploy our AI models. Yeah.
So here's a question for you, David. This goes back to something you said at the beginning. Maybe Tim, you referenced it as well, right? There are two things required for AI to be effective. One, you need a lot of data, right, or machine learning. Two, you have to ask the right questions, right? And even when you ask the right question, you have to word it the right way, or else, right? Who knows what you get in return? So let's hit on the first one, the first element, which is data. So in order for, Hillstone is a company that, is big in cybersecurity, right? You deploy AI. I'm not asking about Hillstone in particular, but just because you have experience. Where is the ethical boundary where, you're collecting all of this data? I'm guessing that in order for my models to be really effective at, Steve mentions intrusion detection or anomalies on the network where you're finding the needle in the haystack. Where is the ethical boundary where you go from we're collecting data from every customer and we're using that to train our models versus customer specific data that you're using to train your models? Or is there an ethical boundary?
No, there's actually different algorithms. Different algorithms, have different requirements. First of all, we don't collect customer data unless there's on our web pages there will be opt-in selections that we ask customer whether you opt in or just experience enhancing, just like Microsoft, everybody. So they can turning their threat events and malware samples to us. So it's completely optional. So for some of our models, for example, malware detection, we rely on outside sources. For example, we have partners that have large sets of malware samples. Mm-hmm. So we train our machine learning algorithms on those samples. So that's one type of engines that we have. The other engine, like anomaly detection, it actually depends on the user's local traffic, a local pattern. In those cases, it doesn't leave the box, so everything is done inside that box. Yeah. So we are a security company, so we're very careful about not doing anything very intrusive, right? If there's any kind of privacy information being exposed, that's actually very detrimental to our business. So yeah, we're very careful on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with Tim on this point. So we need to get a customer consensus before they upload their files and data to our either cloud or our analytical center. And the other thing, the data source we have is we partner with a third party, as Tim pointed out. And also, we initially train our model using the crowdsourced data sources.
Okay.
So yeah, so it's multiple sources. Yeah.
Yeah. So the initial training comes from a crowdsourced data set, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So in some of like the DGA, so we basically have sets of known bad and known good domain names, and we just train them on that. So usually. A lot of the machine learning models or engines, basically there's a training phase and there's a detection phase, right? So on the training phase, we actually do it in our cloud with our own data. And the detection phase is basically on the machine or on the customer premise and using customers' data. So it doesn't leave the box.
So there's good and there's bad with AI, and it sounds like the good may outweigh the bad, and this can help protect our systems with cybersecurity.
Yeah, I think that AI is a moving target. I just go back to what Matt was talking about. So we have been doing AI for a long time, but it's only a start for us. I think nowadays any security company that do detection or prevention, they have to adopt AI. That's the if they don't talk about AI, don't have AI algorithm in their development, they are like behind the curve, right? So even for us, we have AI technology in the engine, but every day there's a new AI algorithms comes out like ChatGPT, right? So all this impact our technology we use as well. So it's very important topic in our R&D. So what is the next step of AI? What kind of technology can we bring to help doing security? So
it's overwhelming. It's moving so fast, it's almost overwhelming. If you look at ChatGPT, as you said earlier, right, it's only a few months old. And how many literally hundreds of applications are we seeing being built around that? And it's only, GPT 3 or 4, whatever it is now.
Yeah.
And you will see another one, in a few months. So it's almost an arms race, right? It's hard to keep up.
Hey, one last question for you. And I'm asking this as from a Hillstone perspective. So we talk about AI, and we talk about the effectiveness and the potential. How hard is it to find folks who can come in and contribute to developing your AI strategy? What's a talent pool like? Or do you not worry about it? You just ask ChatGPT to write yours.
Yeah, I think from the skill set point of view, there are two groups of people from the developer side, or from my own observation, right? One is the algorithm people.
Yeah,
they are general algorithm people. They don't care what the application it is, how cybersecurity, autonomous driving. They just do algorithm, right? Yeah. So algorithm and these pool of people we can get from even the new graduate student, right, with advanced degrees. or with some experiences. These are one group of people. The other is a security professional. These group of people have the domain knowledge of cybersecurity, right? They could be themselves, could be an algorithm developer, no problem, right? Yeah. So these two people, the group of people has to work together. So basically they are in the pipeline. The security professionals understand what data to collect, how to do the data engineering, data mining, and feed the requirements for the algorithm people. So algorithm people depend on these feed data. They develop algorithm, tune the parameters, optimize algorithm, and then they go back to the security people. They work together to reduce false positive, to optimize the result. So to do these iterations, right? These two group of people have to work together. So the security, that group of people, security professional, require a domain knowledge. So this is you can see from the report these days. We lack of these. More comparatively, lack of this group of people.
Yeah. I keep hearing about, the lack of, and more from a practitioner perspective, not a Hillstone who's developing, but from a security IT person, right? The lack of skill that exists in the marketplace. But then again, AI driven tools can compensate for, some of that lack of resource. If you can automate a lot of the the initial configuration and then tuning of those solutions, right?
Right.
Yeah. I second what David said. I think that you basically need two kind of skill set. One is machine learning, the other one is security. It's hard to find people that are actually good at both. So both David and I are coming from the old school security side, right? So, but we are bringing new people who are more affluent to machine learning, and we need to combine the skill set. Basically, I think that what most companies are doing right now is combine their domain knowledge and bring the expertise in machine learning.
Agree.
Matt, that might be a good place to wrap up. Great conversation. Are you more or less scared of AI now,
Matt? Yes.
Yeah.
Is it possible to be conflicted on that?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Well, fantastic. Well, thank you, guys, for joining us, rather, and thank you, the audience, for tuning in. It's been a great conversation. I think this is one that we're going to continually revisit because it is so impactful on everything that we do. And certainly cybersecurity is not one we think of often top of mind when we look at everything, but man, is it impactful on both sides, it sounds like. So
yeah, it's getting more and more important. And thank you for having us here.
Thank you, guys.
Really good time.
Yeah. Thank you.